I'm fighting it. Oh,
Are you fighting it?
I am fighting it right now.
Holy barrels.
How much is it going to cost? How many resources do we need?
A Titan. What?
Oh my god.
Yep, there's a Titan.
Wait.
You're right, kids, it's Ross Clark, and welcome back to another very special episode. Oh yes, it is! Today, we welcome a very special guest, arguably one of the earliest content creators for ARK Survival Evolved, who not only began advocating survival of the fittest and its subsequent official tournaments, one of ARK's of course beloved memories, but has consistently showcased his passion for ARK's development team and strive to be ahead of the competition in-game. To boast his subscribers, a huge 31k Twitch following, world records, one of course being the first tribe to beat Alpha King Titan unofficial, would be an understatement of his involvement within the community. Especially so, and ironically, he's interviewing a Studio Wildcard team members. It gives me great pleasure to welcome the one and only Mr. Dolphin. How you doing,
Hey.
mate?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, mate, good. And it's a great pleasure to be able to get an insight into your huge mega tribe and get to speak to you finally. Obviously, you know, you go way back with ARK, right from the very start, don't you?
Right from the first day, yes.
Yeah, wow. Well, before we drop onto that first question, where I'd love to start on those interviews in particular, we're instead putting me under pressure today. Mr. Dolphin has kindly allowed me to join his Mega Tribe TPG, and being a Mega holds huge bases across locations, across servers that we've been allowed to check out, and I'm very sure is about to open my eyes. But before we do, we're going to need some tech unlocks to get around. So, Mr. Dolphin, I believe you've prepared something for that first step?
We'll do Forest Titan, which will be the biggest one.
Damn, straight into it.
Hopefully we don't get attacked, because...
Yeah, maybe I jinxed it, because I did say to you, like, hopefully there'll be a raid going on to put you under pressure. Right, the Snow Owl's right on Blue Up now, it's right above it. What an introduction to official, there we go. Oh, damn, that's a shot. Ooh, you'll see in the start of this video, we was introduced to official with a stray snow owl and everything was already tense, and that's what I love. Obviously I don't play official anymore, it's been a long time, but I certainly missed just that anticipation and nervousness that you get when anybody transfers onto your server.
Let's do grab a giga, one of my gigas.
All right,
Should be a gig in there.
oof. Some responsibility. Mr. D sends regards. Yep. This base, dude.
It's massive, and it's designed for defending against mostly tapageras, tech tappies.
Right, yeah.
So, because there's a lot of air towers and stuff like that.
Incredible, mate. And the fact this is all done unofficial as well. It's mind blowing. It really is.
Over here, it's a lot easier to defend compared to Alpha 3.
No, it is a really good spot. Is this giga pretty much secured to just devour anything?
If it dies, it dies.
Don't say that. Don't put those words on me, man.
You know what? Back in the day, I used to be so attached to my dinos. It's like, oh yeah, this is my dino, right?
Yeah.
But nowadays, we have to breed so many dinos all the time.
Right.
It's just a number now.
Damn.
Which is unfortunate. That's the only downside to playing official servers.
So some of your early content kicked off with a podcast series discussing the game with the Studio Wildcard staff way back in 2016, which, by the way, are criminally overlooked, and I hope more will go back to watch these. In some sense of strange irony or interviewception, how did you find yourself in such a close relationship with the team back then?
It's been a fun relationship with the devs, because being able to tell, the way they listen to the community, implement a lot of the stuff into the game is really cool. So I like that we can have this. I can bring up a subject and be like, oh yeah, we'll take a look into it, or that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
We may add that at some point. So it's I think it's pretty cool. I think after I won the Survival for the tournament and just started doing content for Survival the Fittest, I think they just were like, oh, that's really cool. Let's talk, and that's how it went from there.
Your community engagement certainly stretches beyond wildcards, getting together with some of the biggest players out there in discussion of who's doing what in the world of PvP. As well as the state of ARK, something of course we've spoken about offline, you'd love to reignite. Many, as you know, take ARK far too personally, and agreeably so with the grind it ties to you. But as competitive as you seem to be, you manage to overlook the toxicity that many fall into. So what drives you to be above that and respect all players in ARK?
Everything is an ecosystem. Like PvP players, especially Megatry PvP players, we relied on the game being popular.
Yeah.
So if the game is not popular, not many people are gonna play it. So if we are too toxic to the PvE community or the large majority of the player base, then we're gonna have like very little people to play with.
Absolutely.
So, and this is something that a lot of the friends and enemies from either side or enemy alliances and PvP in general don't look at it that way, because we have to get along with everybody in order to get stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because this game relies heavily on having a population.
Absolutely.
So I think it's more respecting and understanding what that side wants and what we want, and compromise. Yeah. And that's how we've been avoid. At least I personally try to avoid that toxicity, because it doesn't help. It's just, if I think about it, it's like it doesn't really do anything for me. The reality is, like, we have a lot of players on our tribe that don't really do PvP. All they do is farm or breed. We rely a lot on our breeders. Our breeders is like the core of our community, because without them, we can't have dinos. We can't do anything.
What was a red drop there? You gonna take it, or?
There you go. I just Giga blueprint.
Did you say just a Giga blueprint?
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, we have like a large database of like blueprints and stuff like that, because we manage so many people. So if someone wants a blueprint, we can pull our database from Discord and see what we have, what server we have, what the cost is, and then someone requests that, and then it gets given, it gets crafted, and then it goes back in the box.
So known by many for your world record breaking video, but notably so across all maps, you seem to pressure yourself into a race to be first. And this all started with your involvement within Survival of the Fittest tournaments. But in such a game as ARK that commands the most committed of people to be first, and after 5 or 6 years, you're still going. So why pick ARK as your investment for competitive gaming?
It actually is because it reminds me of my other favorite game when I was younger, which is StarCraft. A lot of the creatures in this game are very reminiscent of like an RTS game. Everything has a purpose, everything fits a role. Right. Oh my god, this is a first.
Yeah, as a Titan.
Wait, I didn't think this through. Can we do this with Gigas?
Yeah, we'll just bite. Just bite it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying, like, it's been a few years since I done it. Oh god.
Yeah, it might have rooted my Giga for a minute. Right, I'll be with you shortly.
It reminds me of real-time strategy games, because you have the way the devs have told me, the way they look at them. We have like support creatures, we have tanks, we have very high DPS creatures, and everything needs to fit a role, and that's why I love it. It's like first-person real-time strategy game where everything needs to fit a purpose, needs to fit a role, and it needs to do it well. And I'm almost in rage. Oh god.
Are you?
Yes.
Oh no.
For example, Reapers. Reapers are considered in the PvP community support creatures, or basilisks. Yeah. Siege units. And Gigas tend to be classified as your main DPS, and Rexes are classified also as your tank. So that's the way we look at it. That's what I love about it. It just reminds me of playing an RTS game, but from the first-person view. Oh,
he's going for you, mate.
I'm taking so much damage.
Are you? I haven't. Yeah. I don't want to jinx it. Yeah, there we go. Literally as I said it, I got hit. Damn it. Oh, nearly there. Go on. Nearly there. Hey!
There we go.
Hey! That's a lot of tech grams and a lot of loot. Good grief. Yeah, we got some nice loot there, mate. Yeah, being as competitive and passionate as you are, understandably creates a lot of critical points to illustrate to Studio Wildcard. How do you feel that the devs respond to fixed requests, and do you feel it's perhaps something that's improved over the years?
I think it's been a huge improvement. Yeah, especially on the enforcement department. People still, get a little bit, they're not really enforcing, but as someone that's been playing the game for 6 years, it's like huge difference. Like the support that they gave us we deal with cheaters. Obviously, I'm gonna say it could be better, but I think they've done a phenomenal job when it comes to making sure the game's a healthy environment for everybody. Look at it this way: like we have so many game modes. We have 6 main, which is regards to different type of balance.
Absolutely, yeah.
Official, mega tribes. It's a whole different kind of balancing that you would need, and then this, BB player and your average player who also need a different kind of balancing.
Yeah.
So the way I see it, they have to balance the game based on many different game modes. So it's not really easy to do, because if you make a change, it's gonna affect everybody.
Yeah. What's next? What we're doing next?
Let's go. Let's walk around my our other home server, which the thing is
all right.
About Garo. I wanted to show you our Genesis 1 server, but it doesn't exist anymore as of last week.
What? It doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah, no, we brought it down. We tear it down. We were like, all right, you know what? Right. We're just gonna we're just gonna use Genesis 2 for Element.
Crikey.
And we don't need Gen 1 anymore.
Getting into your experience in PvP and witnessing the meta aptly evolve with every map that's released, whether it be a new creature or item that affects a new outlook on how to beat the competition. What do you feel was the biggest defining creature or item ever released that set a new mech?
Mechs changed the game completely. Yeah, not Titans, mechs, because mechs define how quickly you can attack a base. Right. Mech goes in there, clears the structure for free because he has a weapon. Yeah, that's for free, and all it does is just swing, clear your spam, clear your structure, so you can rush a structure or a tower. And it allows the enemy to push, because the spam back before mechs, all it did was bide you time. When you see all those servers with lots of spam and pillars around, the whole purpose of that was just like to bide you time. Yeah, right. Because people needed to push turrets forward to attack your tower, otherwise they were unprotected. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then mech comes in, can clear that in a few minutes to compare to before mechs, where you had to use C4. And that was a very long process, where fights would last months to be defined who was going to win. Nowadays, a fight can last maybe a weekend, 2 weeks, or a few hours, depending on how many people are involved. But the mechs speed up the process of raiding quite a lot.
Don't forget to kick me afterwards.
No, someone will, because they're gonna they look at Discord and then compare. Okay, who just got invited? Right. Who's this person? They check the database. Okay. This person does not belong here. Yeah. And they got removed. And they're like, why'd you invite that guy? Are you alright, dude?
I hate that. Facts.
Take off your clothes. I got Good? I can take you out for a trip. let's save this guy first.
Yeah. Do you want me to help?
Punch him. That's right. Punch him.
Alright. Oh no! Oh, we got teleported.
he teleported. We're in a large breeding area. So let's go back to this teleporter, because this is the
go on, mate.
Will crash your PC.
All right.
How many teleporters do we actually have?
Nice. Oh my god, that's a lot of TPs, man.
And it's a lot of element also to maintain, because a lot of the stuff need to be maintained by a group of people.
Being highly honoured to be able to witness your base locations, it's quite apparent and seemingly obvious that to cave dwell has become almost a fundamental life to survive in ARK PvP nowadays. A huge topic I recall you talking about with other PvP players in a podcast in 2019, spurred by the introduction of turret limits, titans and mechs, which has perhaps become even more desired despite Gen 1 and 2 attempting to keep us out of caves by design. So could you name 3 changes Studio Wildcard need to make in order to get us out of caves?
You have to revert a lot of the stuff that got introduced with DLCs. Like mechs, titans, you actually have to nerf dinos. And I don't think Wildcard wants to do that.
No players would like it either, would they?
No, I don't think anyone would like their dinos to be nerfed, especially because you've been breeding for so many years, and all of a sudden you're gonna say, okay, we have to nerf these because one single dino can soak so many turrets. And turrets don't, as I was saying earlier, dinos overscale, but static defenses does not. So you have dinos that over time will just have so much HP that turrets, you will need more ammo and more turrets and more element to be able to defend that.
Yeah.
So that would be the second one, which I don't think will ever happen. You have to do a dino nerfed, and then you have to buff a static defense to make it so someone can't just rush all your turret towers that easily. It's a very difficult topic that I think many people have the ideas on how to go about it, and many people just don't know how to fix that, because it's been, if you increase the choke points on caves, that doesn't really help because they just don't do enough. Turret towers is just not gonna do enough damage to allow the newer dinos.
Yeah, right.
So good. Like look at this huge choke point. We're in like the walk down entrance of Valguero. Look at the amount of turrets we have to place.
Yeah, I mean,
the amount of stuff we have to place to be able to defend this huge choke point.
Incredible.
Once this choke point, there's another wall, and then another wall. You know, to get to our breeders.
So yeah, being in a mega tribe full of hundreds, if not thousands of players must require some incredible organisation to perhaps set goals, knowledge across servers, or battle plans that you could argue against possibly some of the biggest real-life wars we've ever seen. How on earth do you manage that?
It's a long hierarchy of or echelon of players, right? And it's a thing that has been built and redesigned over the years.
Yeah.
You have your leadership, and you have your breeders, you have your builders, and it's more of a community effort. And every tribe is different. Every tribe maybe has like one dictator type of leader, or you know, a whole group of people who run a mega tribe, and is run like a business. You know, you have to have some tribes do quotas where every member has to provide a certain amount of element or metal every week, right? Our tribe, we do quotas, so every week I have to show 100 element, otherwise I get the boot.
Really, and that's what it is. If you don't hit that quota, you get kicked from the tribe.
Because there's a lot of maintenance that needs to be done. You have to every week you need to farm for. We need to have a stuff ready for offense, defense. You need to have enough element to maintain all your generators.
Yeah.
So a lot of that requires people and requires numbers and requires a lot of farming. And Genesis 2 actually facilitates that nowadays because of the Strider. We can just farm, do a metal cap of metal in just a few minutes. So that's really nice. But before that is, you know, you have to use magma swords or ankylos. You have to go to operation, and you have like, I don't know if we have something like that here, but on Valguero, but we have like dozens of rows of forges to process all that. And you have like cap of the storage areas just to process metal, and that would take hours, days to just process so much metal. And then you have to craft hundreds of flaxets, hundreds of ammo, and it's a long process. And that alone requires a large amount of people in a lot of organization. And thanks to our leadership here, for example, here in TPG, that it's a very smooth process. As you can see here, all these rows, how nice and well placed.
Yeah.
And all that took a lot of time and just someone goes on a private server, builds a mock-up of this as an example, and was like, all right, presents this, people talk about it. All right, does this look good? Do you think this is defendable? What do you guys think? And that gets approved, and then it gets built, and it goes from there. Just like in a business, when you're gonna introduce a new product, it has to go through a line. What do you guys think? Does this look good? All right, do we build this? How much is it gonna cost? How many resources do we need? Gotta make a spreadsheet of all this stuff. You can see someone goes in there and organize all these dinos to be able to breed efficiently and properly.
Yeah.
You know, park them nice and neat, do the breeding, push the mutations, all the X-pops, nice and neatly in a row, and then, you know, start doing the breeding process. And because when we have like so many hundreds of players, you have to distribute hundreds and hundreds of eggs to many different players from many different time zones.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So you need a lot of room and space to be able to do this. That's one of the things I'm hoping they change in ARK 2. Like get rid of just lock I&I, so people don't use I&I. But at the same time, the way I see it on a non-PvP aspect is that computers with lower NPCs are not going to be able to render that. We'll have an issue with that, and I think that would just reduce the amount of people that can actually play ARK. So in a way, I'm glad they have I&I because it allows low NPCs to be able to play the game. But at the same time, for balance purposes, it's like, all right, well, I can see the tree and you cannot.
Well, for those that don't know, what could you explain I&I?
Well, I&I is just basically removes certain graphics or stuff in the game. For example, you see the trees, but I don't see the trees.
Right.
And that gives me a huge tactical advantage.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm trying to snipe somebody that's hiding in the trees. I can see them, but someone doesn't have an eye, I cannot.
Yeah, well, witnessing ARK's development since the Redwood less low-level, high-grind game it once was, to being now a tech giving straight out of drops day we live in now with Genesis Part 2, which I can certainly see reason in bringing new players up to speed. How does it feel to come from a time where you'd pick up one stone at a time to seeing players picking up tech bows out of drops now?
Oh, you know what? I think it's really cool. In my case, it makes I don't have to farm for that. I can just go to a drop. All right, cool. I got a railgun now. I don't need to craft this OP railgun that I found in that. That's this blueprint I found in that drop. So it makes farming easier. It makes getting the stuff, especially if you're more of a casual player nowadays. And I consider myself now more of a casual player compared to a couple of years ago, because having a regular job, streaming, trying to make content, I don't have the time to craft hundreds and hundreds of stuff that I need for wars. I usually just either get them from an offense or from our teams, because we're also divided in teams. Yeah, you know, having Genesis, having things that gives me cap items or really good tech saddles just makes it a lot easier for me to just not having to farm that. I think they look at it two ways. They look at it as like, all right, so I think some people, for example, the whole Federation tech suit. Yeah. All right, and I'm not sure if Wildcard will be okay with me saying this, but I know they wanted to do that when I had talks to one of the producers. They wanted to make it so in Extinction you spawn with a tech suit. Oh, right. And they were like, oh, you know what, we're not gonna do that. Yeah. And they ended up doing for Genesis too. So that was on the I know that was on the works. They wanted to do that for a very long time. They wanted to just give you element from the get-go. So because they realized that a lot of newer players or casual players did not reach tech. Yeah. As that conversation that happens every now and then, like people upset that there's so much tech added. And I understand their point of view, because it's not easy for everybody to reach tech. Yeah. And I think that's why R2 is going more primitive. You know, tech is not as popular as some people may think it is. Yeah, and it's an opportunity to reset. You know, exactly. Go and start from the beginning. Absolutely. So I think that's why with Genesis 2 they're like, all right, we're gonna give you all the elements, all the text from the start, give you unlimited, pretty much unlimited everything, so you can experience ARK like you never like the way. We're in somewhat of an end game now with Gen 2, as we've just been speaking about, wrapping up the story, though with a few more maps to see us through to the fully fledged sequel, ARK 2, and it's seemingly returning to its primitive roots we've known once upon a time, and hoping that Studio Wildcard will use their learnings of ARK 1's development to create perhaps a different life cycle for ARK 2. What do you expect from it in terms of evolution from primitive to tech? Okay, so if I was them, I think I would approach it the same way they did in 2015. Yeah. 2015 test. It start with primitive, and it's slowly start introducing mythical, which is what Scorcher was, you know, wyverns and rug golems, and then it slowly add sci-fi, tech, and stuff like that. Yeah. It worked really well for ARK 1, I think. Yeah, so far. I'd agree, yeah. And I think doing it that way would work well for ARK 2. Yeah. Because if you give me everything from the get-go on ARK 2, I'm just like, I'll get bored very quickly. I think there needs to be a progression. That's why it's called Survival Evolved. Absolutely. It slowly evolves to what we have now. But ARK 2 doesn't have the word Survival Evolved in it, does it? That's a good point. It's just ARK 2. Just ARK 2. Maybe they'll add a subtitle at some point. And that's why I'm very excited about ARK 2. It's like I think it's gonna be more story based. Yeah. Because slowly with every DLC they've been trying to push more story type of gameplay. Yeah. And survival games in general, I'm not very heavy in story, and it's really difficult. It's still very niche genre. And I think if they lean more away from survival, I think that will help them acquire more customers, in my opinion. Holy barrels! Oh yeah, this is one of the kitchens on this server. As you can see, the best builders, in my opinion, are the ones that play on official servers. Right. Because they make this very efficient builds. You see all the structures you've seen so far. somebody or a group of people have come out with like, all right, how do we make this very efficient, very fast, the fastest way we can produce thousands of resources very efficiently. They need to be built a certain way to be able to accomplish that. You see like this rows of beer barrels, and this is not even the greatest greenhouse in my opinion, but they have to be placed a certain way. They have to be lined up a certain way, so someone that's making 1,000 med brews, 2,000 med brews can just do that very quickly and very easily. And you have now they have the like plan R. They need to be placed a certain way, and someone like see, I don't even know how someone did this. They're like all stacked.
Mr. Dolphin, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. It really has, mate. And it goes without saying, you provide a level of commitment to the game that many should be in awe of. So, it's your time to shine, mate. Plug away to the arseholes. What's going on in your life, and what are you working on next?
People can check me out on twitch.tv/Mr. Dolphin. You can also check out my YouTube channel, Mr. Dolphin. I do content mostly on the weekends these days because of my personal time, but most of the content you'll see from me is going to be PvP.
And it's primarily PvP, raids, defenses, that's the sort of thing.
Raids, defenses, and all the stuff, yeah.
Wonderful. But yeah, once again, mate, honestly, it's been a genuine pleasure. And I'm very humbled and grateful to have been allowed access to the backstage, as it were, of your tribe. And to meet you, it's been really, really nice, mate. So there you have it, everybody. Please go check Mr. Dolphin out. I'll leave his Twitch and YouTube links in the description. My name is Ras Clark. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, peace out.